Howdy folks, this is Combat Ineffective, and I have another game with Tonster in the mod 1, and he is on Prohorovka. So it looks like he's choosing his vision setup here, and I'm not sure where he's going to go. I would suspect he'll go to maybe the hill, but probably the 1 line. Excuse me, the 9 line? 1 line. So he's top tier, so that means he's likely to be able to bully quite a few tanks if he gets the opportunity. Well, yeah, there we go. So because this thing has a great turret, he may be looking to spot up above the ridge line here, poking over with little chance of actually getting penned for his efforts. And there's that gun handling coming into play. Notice he is, again, tried to 3-mark this, so he's got quite a bit of gold rounds. And he gets his first shot at damage. Now, there is a T-50-2 running around here, but the chances of that actually penning him are basically nil. So he decides to go over and I think check on what might be on the hill, because we didn't send that much over there. He might be looking for shots on this this light tank too. The light tank does appear to be coming over the ridge line. So if you're not familiar with the Mod 1, it's got a great turret, pretty good hull armor, very good for a tier 8 medium. And it's only got 250 alpha, so the DPM is okay on it, but basically since your alpha is so low, it is a little hard to keep people off of you in a situation where you're fighting more than one person, unless you've got either backup or are in a great position, which Tonster has a habit of getting into those great positions. He's very good at this tank. I think he got up to 94%. Oh, that guy is making a mistake. But then he dropped back down. I don't know where he's at now. I know he hasn't done the 3-mark unless he's done it today. So this is definitely not a 3-mark game. It is an ace. And as you'll see, he's going to do quite a bit of spotting in addition to damage. So he's firing at the basic bush that you always fire at, because a lot of times people sit there. So he's using his turret armor here to pop over the ridge line with impunity, more or less. And he is punishing those backliners here. Looks like he's attempting to take out tanks, get rid of guns as quickly as possible. It's already 4-2. It looks like there might be enemies on the hill, but not that many, maybe? I'm not sure. Let's see, what's not lit? The STRVS-1, that's going to be on the 1 line out in the back. The E-25, same. The Basoto's probably also on the 1 line. So it could be just the Tiger 131 and maybe the Arl, in addition to the M2Y that was already spotted there, of course. But I doubt that there's really anything more than that M2Y. So Tonster is being extremely aggressive here, and he does pay a bit for it. But that's sort of his trademark, is playing very aggressively and making it work. His Win 8 kind of belies his skill level because he plays so aggressively. And I learned from him, except I don't have the skills to back it up, so I end up getting my butt kicked quite often. And that E-25 is cruising for a bruising. I can see Tonster's his gears turning already. He knows where he's at now. Ooh, but it does look like they have won the hill, the enemy that is, and are pushing this Firefly. This is a pretty good opportunity for Tonster to go in and save the day. So it looks like he's probably going to go to the 3 line or 4 line and spot from a bush there, would be my guess, after he clears out what he can of this middle section. Maybe he's not even going to do that. So I would guess that they have nothing else really on the 6 line. That Iron Ernie hasn't been spotted for a little while. Now the problem is this 100mm, you can have trouble penning those wedge tanks, but the S1 only has 30mm, I believe, and so a 100mm gun will overmatch it. But I think the stock tank, or the tank from the... Well, looks like he's looking around here. And that E-25's trying to harass him. So it's 5-8, so he's doing the best he can to try and hold off the enemy. What I was going to say is the Tech Tree tank, I believe, is has 40mm of armor, and so it is kind of a problem for this tank. And as you can see, the armor holds up pretty well, even when you're not positioning your turret exactly correctly, because the E-25 doesn't have all that accurate of a gun, and the pen I don't think is all that great as well. So now that he's unspotted, he's going to camp it out in this bush and see if he can't help his team to fight their way back out of this corner. This is a classic place to spot for your team. Unfortunately, with that T-52 in play and the E-25 behind him, he's going to have a tough time staying unspotted, especially if he wants to do damage, and I think he needs to do damage in order to save this game. And he's starting to snap a bit, trying to minimize his risk. And that E-25 continues to be a thorn in his side. He does have 2,000 damage and 1,800 spotting, so he's not doing too bad. And that is a very welcome development, getting rid of that T-50-2. Now, he's not going to outspot this this E-25, but this thing does have surprisingly good camo. You can get it up to, I think, 37%. Yeah, if it's stationary. And the teammates are actually calling out some information in chat, which is great. And there we go. Tony backs up to make the bush opaque, so he hopefully doesn't get spotted, although he's got, of course, the problem on the other side. And that is a great elimination as well. But he has sort of given up position in the middle. And that Mibby M2Y is in a fairly good position. So Toaster really needs to get rid of this E25. If he can do that, then he may end up unmolested on this flank and able to affect a win here. I, of course, already know. Ooh, and there's some heat. Basoto's probably a little surprised that it bounced off of the Mod 1. Ooh, and there's the other E25, and that's going to do it for Tonster. Try as he might. So the game is more or less over. The enemy does end up winning this game. And it looks like it's going to take a while, so let's go ahead and speed it up a bit. That E25 is just tearing it up here. And that looks like the end of the game right there. So if we go back and look at the results, Tonster did end up with a high caliber, a patrol duty in his tank. Like I said, it's got decent camo, and he's using his turret to peek over and get spots. Fire for effect, a bruiser, and of course an ace tanker on a defeat due probably to the high caliber and the patrol duty. I think those are both heroic medals. 3,100 damage, almost 3,400 spotting, so that's a really great game. 6.3, almost 6.4 combined. And as you can see, he's by far top of the team. In fact, he did more base XP than anybody on the enemy team, and that was before his courageous resistance of another 500, giving him actual base XP of 1,411, which is pretty good. As you can see, his ammo costs were somewhat expensive, but I did tell him that he can fire as much gold as he wants, do whatever he wants. Tonster, of course, being a little cheeky up here and pretending that this was me playing, but obviously it was Tonster. So anyway, 10 minutes in exactly, looks like he gave up the ghost, but that was a heroic effort, and I think he did all he could do. They needed to dig out those E25s a little earlier, have maybe the guys on the one line be a little more proactive. But regardless of who should have done what, I'm no expert, so I could be completely wrong on that. Some games just are not winnable. You'll notice he did travel 3.72 kilometers, so he was a very active player in this game. He fired 24 shots, 14 hits, 13 pens. That's to be expected when you're firing gold and you're top tier. Anyway, that'll do it. Only 495 blocked by armor, and that was mostly, I think, that E25. But he was flanked for a good portion of the match, and then he was also facing that S1, which has excellent pen. So no surprise that he got pinned more or less every time that guy shot at him. So I think that's going to do it. So have a good one, and Combat Ineffective out.